There you go. My wife sent this to me. Let's go. Depression. Bootleg movie night?
On the 11th of May,
It's true, we could watch a bootleg
1984, a fire began inside the Haunted Castle attraction at Six Flags Great Adventure
We could do
in
Kung Fu
Jackson
Hustle.
Township, New Jersey. The flames spread quickly, feeding off flammable building materials and decorations. There were around 30 guests inside the attraction when the flames took hold, almost a third of whom would not make it out alive.
Jesus
The Haunted
Christ.
Castle was a walk-through attraction, packed with spooky theming. Guests would move...
Dude, that is honestly like the most depressing way to go. Dying in a walk-through amusement ride. Like a walk-through amusement park a walk-through amusement park ride and dying in it. That is like, oh, that sucks. Like, that just sucks, man.
along a series of narrow and dimly lit corridors, enjoying frequent scares along the way. These were provided by special
How to Catch
effects
Fire? I'm not
including
sure
strobes and recorded sounds, as well as live actors dressed in costume who would jump out from hidden alcoves. While it was themed to resemble a crooked castle, the attraction was actually built from 16 interconnected truck trailers. These were arranged in a symmetrical configuration, with 8 on each
How the
side.
truck trailers catch on fire?
Each set of 8 trailers contained a more or less identical maze of corridors. When the park was quiet, only one side would be opened, but both sides could be run at once when the park was busy.
We might do Mr.
There was
Ball.
also a central trailer which served as a control room and dressing room for the live actors. On the evening of the 11th of May, 1984, just one side of the attraction was opened. Guests were filtering through at a steady rate when, just before 6:30 p.m, a small fire began. This quickly spread. The trailers were made from aluminium, but were packed with flammable materials, including plywood dividing walls, cloth and paper coverings on most surfaces, wood and foam props.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch that one. That's too depressing. I've already seen it.
Foam crash
I'm not
pads
watching that
on
on
some
stream.
walls. Around 30 people were inside when the fire began. The rapid spread of flames and smoke, combined with the deliberately confusing layout of the haunted castle, made it difficult for guests to evacuate.
Oh man.
One guest who did manage to escape noted that he'd stumbled, tripped and bounced off walls as he fled, and that his decision to leave had been delayed because, upon first seeing flames and smoke, he mistook them for just another special effect.
Oh no.
Fire and
That's
rescue
true.
services were called promptly and arrived on scene within minutes, but the fire was so fierce that the affected side of the attraction was all but destroyed by the time they managed to bring it under
Sheesh.
control. It was, for a brief time,
Oh my
thought
God.
that all patrons had been successfully evacuated, but this notion was quashed when 8 bodies were discovered
Yes.
in the wreckage, most of them in the same narrow corridor. Some of them were so severely burned that they were initially mistaken for burned mannequins from the haunted castle's theming. The 8 victims were all from the same group of friends. Among the dead were 18-year-old Nicola Kayatsa,
18?
17-year-old Joseph Beiruti,
17?
15-year-old Tina Genovese,
15?
18-year-old Eric Rodriguez,
18?
17-year-old Samuel Valentin, 17-year-old Lenny
Oh
Ruiz,
my god.
17-year-old Jose
They're
Carrion,
all teenagers.
and 17-year-old Christopher Harrison. The park was briefly closed while an investigation
Oh
took
my
place.
god.
The initial cause of the fire was soon identified. A 13-year-old survivor named Joey Irica testified that he had seen another teenage boy using the flame from a cigarette lighter to find his way through a darkened part of the maze.
Are you serious?
While doing so,
A lighter?
Erica testified.
Wait, what year was this? Oh, 1984. I mean, flashlights were a thing. Well, I mean, obviously he's not going to bring a flashlight in. Why would he have a dude, I have so many questions.
The older boy had accidentally brought the flame too close to a ripped piece of foam dangling from a foam-clad wall, causing it to ignite. The boy with the lighter was never identified. While using an open flame in such a confined space is a foolish course of action,
Yeah.
investigators noted that he was not to blame for the disaster. The fault was, instead, attributed to park management and to a railway state level.
Man, come on now, get that pep off there. Come on, somebody come get this, man. Come on now. Come on, get that pep off. I don't really want to see this no more.
Inspection agencies.
Thanks.
These parties, it was alleged, had allowed the haunted castle to operate without proper safety systems and in an increasingly dangerous condition year on year. For example, no sprinkler system and no working smoke alarms were installed inside the attraction. Both had been recommended by fire safety consultants, but
I guess it's the
actually
80s,
mandatory, since the haunted castle was considered to be a temporary structure, and building codes at the time did not require smoke alarms or sprinkler systems inside temporary structures. Of course, the haunted castle had been in place for almost 5 years at the time of the disaster, thus somewhat stretching the definition of temporary. Furthermore, it was revealed that many of the emergency exit lights and other fixtures and fittings within the maze had been in poor condition at the time of the disaster. Employees noted that bulbs were missing or broken in many emergency lights, and that the foam padding on the wall where the fire had begun was ripped and exposed when it should have been neatly sealed. Shift managers also reported that guests had been witnessed using matches and lighters to illuminate their way on several occasions in the past, but that nothing had been done to address this. When staff working on the haunted castle had brought up these issues with senior management, they had been ignored, even when they staged a walkout in protest against the poor upkeep of the attraction in 1983.
What the hell?
In that same year, an anonymous employee had filled in a form for reporting safety violations with the words,
They literally boycotted!
"Forget it. Too numerous to mention." Despite this record of poor maintenance and missing safety measures, both the park and its parent company were cleared of any wrongdoing when the matter came to court.
Of course it did.
After much deliberation, jurors laid the blame at the feet of Jackson Township officials, who repeatedly allowed the castle to slip through cracks in the fire code.
As long as it's just money, bro. Like, it's literally just money. So that costs too much money to do all that stuff. Even though it really doesn't cost that much money at all. But they still were just like, it costs money. Well, I even if it's only like $5, I want to save it. I mean, I know it's more than $5, but Jesus Christ, fuck that, dude.
Now it's time to walk away. I hope you enjoyed your stay. Did you laugh or cry or maybe subscribe? I'll thank you either way. You know I will miss you. I hope you return. Tell your friend or